Well, we're physically live again, twice in the same day. We're going to go for our box number 2. So box number 2 is the Irish Premium box. And listen, hope you've all had a beautiful Christmas. Hope it was great yesterday. Hope Boxing Day has been fantastic. And we had a good turnout earlier on to try box number 1, which was the 12-year-old. Well, it was actually box number 3, but it was the 12-year-old plus box. Some really lovely liquids in there. And now we're going to drink some big hitters, some really tough whiskies to get through here. Most of them at cask strength, and yeah, I'm excited. I know we're doing this live on Facebook and on YouTube, but we're also through Microsoft Teams. We've got a group of people who have the boxes here who are doing the drinking with us, and who might be talking, who might start to chat to us, which will be really good because you'll hear them. Okay, you'll hear them. You won't see them, but that's okay. You get to see my ugly face with my class little Christmas cracker hat on.
Hello.
How's it going? Yes. Well, there's Louise. We've got Richard on tonight. I know Johnny's here. John's on. Keith's on by mistake, but that's okay. I think Keith just wants to come for the crack. He probably has some of these in his box anyway, so he can drink along. And also Robert. Which is great, and good to see you, Michael. I know you've just said hi on Facebook, so hi back. Good you're watching. I think it's great that we can do this across all these platforms. So if I'm looking at one screen, it's because I'm actually looking at the guys in the room here. All right, and we'll just try and pay attention to the guys in the Microsoft Teams chat. But we're going to start bottle number 4 that you guys will have. So bottle number 4 in the pack. So we organised this in days. So the 24th of December, if you got your box in time, which most of you would have got days in advance to Christmas. If you get your box, maybe it's a present from the wife, or it's a present to yourself, then you say, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to crack on and start drinking it. Robert, absolutely loving the background behind you there. That is stunning, big man. Absolutely stunning. Look at all those MVRs, eh? And Dingle, big fan of the Dingle. Good man. Absolutely great to see. Oh, Stephen McCann, thank you very much. Happy Christmas to you, mate, as well. Hope things are well. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope the whole McCann clan, every single one of you are doing great. Thanks so much. Yes, Matt. And Richard, not staying on. Sorry. Don't be sorry, Richard. Come back any other time. So, number 24 in the box is the Bushmills, 1995. Why not start with such a mammoth drink? It's the 1995 Causeway Collection. Cask strength comes in at 53.5%. Malaga cask finish. Wow. The colour is stunning. The colour is unreal. For those that have not tried this yet, I've been lucky. We did a tasting of this. We bought it straight away for the Whiskey Club, and we tasted it straight away. We actually got two ambassadors from Bushmills to come on to the call when we did the tasting. We managed to pick this up, and do you know what? This is big and bold and very beautiful, like big, super big. It is an amazing drop, Richard. You're just right. Super. It just knows that. Just get that. I mean, if you haven't smelt anything all day, and you especially alcohol, and you put your nose in there, you're going to be burning away some hairs. All right, I've had 9 whiskies today already, in the first box, but going to this is another level, isn't it? Malaga cask, you know what? Just good to see the Malaga cask being used again in whiskey production in Ireland. I think it's, it's been around. It had been used plenty in the past, so really good to see it being used again. Bushmills have stepped up a little bit here, and bringing out some really big cask strength bottles for us. So I'm really impressed that we've got this. A very old expression, of whiskey for us just now. Not definitely not usual. What's people's take on the smell? Just before we go into the taste of this, what's people's thoughts of the smell? it's nearly got an earthy note, doesn't it? It's nearly got an earthy kind of note, and it's got that.
Yeah, I'm getting like a leather and
Yep.
Earthy, like you said, old bookstore, old library.
Very much so, Richard. No, you're spot on there. Lovely, lovely deep stone fruit, right in behind this dustiness, yet leather, earthy note. Which is good. You know, really, really appreciating that.
Very alright. Little black cherry.
Blackberries, black cherries,
Oh yeah, there it's there. It's just.
Figs.
That's just meaty, like. Oh.
Definitely packs a punch.
Yeah.
Very much so, doesn't it? It's a lot of alcohol very quickly, and the alcohol kind of stays on your tongue.
Sits there, yeah.
Yeah, it does not dissipate. it's seeping into the tongue. It's like, you know, it's trying to make its way past all those taste buds and just suck right into your bloodstream very quickly. It's not hanging. It's not leaving. It's hanging about. It's really, 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 really flavoursome. So much going on there. Really deep, you know, stewed fruit, which is nearly thick and you know, in the taste and the consistency, you know, concentrated. You know, it's nearly treacle like. You know, the consistency of it. Really, a really deep whiskey like that. Peachy note to it, Michael. Yeah, do you know what? It's that stoned peach. But that's Bushmills DNA, isn't it? You know, that's what they talk about. They want to talk about that in there, and it is in there. Yeah, that's Bob. Thanks very much. Yep, a wee bit. Good. Good man. Yeah. And yes, Michael, there's going to be a tasting with the Celtic Whisky Shop featuring nothing less than a Bushmills 21 cask strength. And I'm looking forward to it. I purchased myself a wee ticket for that because who the hell can pass up a Bushmills 21 cask strength? No one in their right mind can do that. And I've tasted cask strength Bushmills from a Madeira cask. So I'm assuming, you know, and it was about 19 years old. I'm assuming, you know, it's going to be something along those kind of lines, that kind of taste and profile. So yeah. Back to this though. Anyone in this room disliking that? Because this is a good start. If I'd got this box, someone had gifted me this and I wasn't partaking, and someone said, listen, just drink one a day, and I cracked that up on Christmas Eve, I'd have loved going to bed. That'd have been a nice a wee dram to put you to bed. There's Brendan Carty on. Good to see you. Brendan, I hope you drove well and drove safe and your car was okay today. I was a wee bit worried about you earlier. A wee bit touch and go there with the car not working. Yeah. Is anyone getting, like, particularly on the taste, it's like, again, that earthiness actually comes through.
Malaga is definitely hiding. A lot of times with these casks that are finished in some kind of a wine, and the wine just kind of dominates the flavor of it. It's not being dominated here. It's very well balanced.
Yeah. I mean, have you tasted another? I mean, it's a really strange question, but tasting another Bushmills like it, there just isn't.
No.
No, this is very, very, very off-piste, as it were. You know, in terms of tasting for Bushmills.
Is this possibly one of the double distilled casks that they were using for this, or? A lot of the double distilled tends to be a lot like this.
Yeah, now, do you know what? We've done it. As I say, I was there for the launch with Bushmills, so I did the tasting. They didn't mention that. And then I've done the tasting with the two ambassadors, Seamus and Lauren. And again, that wasn't mentioned, Richard. You know, so I wouldn't know the answer to that, if there is an answer to it, you know, if they're going to divulge that. I don't know. And I don't think it says on the box specifically. Does it say triple distilled? I don't know. I don't know. I threw the box and the bottle away. Actually, I've given the box away because people are making clocks with them.
So,
yeah, so I'm perfectly fine with that. I've given all these boxes away. I don't, to be honest, don't really care for them. They've served their purpose. they carried the bottle, which carried the liquid, and the liquid's way more important for me. So yeah, so I've given it away. But yes, Matthew, listen, we'll speak to you soon. That's good that Matt, he comes on. Yeah, that's good. He's away again. Brilliant. Nice hat. Thanks so much. I know. Listen, it's one of those ones came out of crack, and I thought, do you know what? It suits me. I've actually had my third Christmas dinner tonight. So I had ended up Christmas dinner last night about 3:00, and then I had Christmas breakfast, which literally was my dinner from last night, just fried up, the entire amount, just fried up, and and it was just great. And I've just had again the same dinner. You can have Christmas dinner every day. So good. There's that much turkey left.
No way.
No way. Do you know that's one of the things, isn't it? You never seem to waste it, and I guarantee you, as long as the turkey looks okay and it doesn't go that greeny colour, it'll still be in the sandwiches for days to come. That's just the way it is. I really want to make a wrap. I'm saying tomorrow I want to make a wee wrap, and I've got my cranberry. It's like wee wild cranberry sauce. So what cranberry with mayonnaise, mix that up together, and then a wee bit of the ham, a wee bit of the turkey, tiny wee bit of grated carrot, and a wee bit of cheese. And I think wrap that up, put it into the wee toaster, and I hear that'll do me. That'll be like a nice wee, Christmas wrap for my lunch tomorrow. That's my plan anyway. I may have pancakes in the morning. Oh, here we go. I was asked and was told this is not double distilled. So Matt Kelly has said it's not double distilled. Bottle and box do actually say triple distilled on it, so he says. But I agree, it is some of the double distilled Bushmills notes in it. So someone's agreeing with you, Richard, there about that. Interesting. But it just has what it has though, Richard. And I've discussed this at length about this specific one, and I haven't opened the German edition or indeed the French edition yet, or the new airport edition. But this one to me tastes like it is super old. Like it actually has that, it's from the past written all over it. I mean, if you were blind tasting this, not knowing that it's Bushmills, you would have to say it tastes vintage. It tastes, from I would have said early 90s, but I could have even said this was late 80s from Bushmills. With some of the late 80s tastings that we've had. But look, I had earlier on today, we took the first expression, so the first bottling of the 16-year-old, Bushmills, and it was great. And it just, had those deeper flavours that the 16-year-old was maybe lacking at the moment. And this is great. This is great stuff. Really, really. Do you know what? You put this next to, I mean, what is it? A 25-year-old, isn't it? 25-year-old liquid. You put this next to a 25-year-old Scotch, just about from any distillery. I mean, it would give it a good run for its money, wouldn't it? It would give it a good run for its money. It's got those notes that everyone wants in a single malt. Yeah, really liking that. Loving those deep fruits. Love it.
I put a little splash of water in it, and it killed a little bit of that alcohol burn on it, but all the flavors were still there. It's just mighty fine, even with a little bit of water in it.
I think it could lose. Yeah, I think it could certainly lose alcohol and still have those deep flavors. I'm not going to mess with it. I mean, it's just my preference, but I think you're quite right to do so, and I think it's very important. Actually, the alcohol. I mean, this is for me is a fantastic. I mean, this amount of liquid in here, that alone, that amount of liquid, that would do me for hours. I mean, that's really silly, but I genuinely could sip that for as long as possible. I remember sitting one day, I went to a Christmas do one time, loving a wee story, but I went to a Christmas do and it was in the Duke of York. So the Duke of York, obviously in Belfast, great wee bar, lots of whiskey to choose from. And we're doing, that thing when you go out to a Christmas night out with your work colleagues that you have a wee kitty. You put all your money into the kitty and they say, we'll go up for round one, I'll go up for round two, and blah, blah. And all of a sudden, it's my, it's not my turn to go up, but the lassie says to me, here, what do you want on the round? I said, can you go up there and do me a favour? I know for a fact they have, behind the bar, there's a 25-year-old Bushmills. This is a couple of years ago. It's 25-year-old Bushmills. It's not labelled as a 25-year-old Bushmills. but it's a distillery bottling. Can I have that, please? And I knew, fine, rightly, it cost a few bob. So she comes back to me and she hands me back the whiskey, and I was like, that's not Bushmills. So it's not even Bushmills to start with. And I'm like, it's not Bushmills. I says, what did you ask for? She said, ask for that, but the barman told me it was too expensive. And he says, just to give you this. I was like, tasting it, I was like, yep, it's a Jameson. Yep, definitely a Jameson. I was like, went back up to the bar, says, listen, you've just handed over a Jameson. Surely the lassie asked for that 25-year-old Bushmills up there. Oh, I did, but it's 25 quid a shot. And I know it's 25 quid a shot. It's my one drink that I want for the entire night, and I want to be sitting with. So what did you give me in the end? So that smells a wee bit familiar, Jameson. And he's like, yeah, Crested 10. I was like, you know what, I'll take a Crested 10. I'll drink that. That's okay. You know, old style Crested 10. And then I had to tell him, can you just pour me the Bushmills 25-year-old distillery bottle? So yeah, so you know, it reminds me of that in some respects. It has this, you know, really old. I mean, that distillery bottling was again from the early 90s, late 80s distilling, early 90s distilling, and yeah, brilliant. Just really, really good. Good stuff. Good opening whiskey. I'm glad that we started with that. To be honest, you know, and people might go, oh, you should have left that to the end. No, we're just going to rattle through in order of the numbers on the card, just for the crack. People are talking about food and stuff. Potato bread, yes, potato bread, Mickey Donley. Look, I'm loving the chat that's happening online because there's people coming on just to see what the crack is, which is important. But we're going to move on. Number 20. Just out of curiosity, was anyone disliked that? Anyone just not? No. I think it's hard to dislike that. I'll be honest. Very hard to dislike it. It's
set the high bar.
Say again, Richard.
Setting a high bar to start with.
I know, mate. I know. But you know, I don't think I'm. To be honest, I don't think it's. You know, there's a bar, and it might just do this. It might just wobble a little. I don't think it's going to fall. Well, we'll see. I mean, people can judge for themselves. We're going to move on to number 25, which is the Dunville's 20-year-old cask strength. It was a new release. Apparently, when it sold out very, very quickly. I'll be honest, I purchased 3 bottles for these tastings alone. So I was very lucky to purchase 3 directly at the distillery when I was there. I think if I wasn't at the distillery bottling, you know, and great kudos to the guys at Ecklenville for letting me use the distillery to do the bottlings. But if I wasn't there, I'm sure I might not have got it because it sold out within the matter of minutes, potentially seconds. And I think people have this problem with like hitting their button to get the whiskey in time. But yeah, so we're gonna move on to that. Let me see what number have I got. I've got number 20.
Is it?
28. Light green. Sorry?
What number?
Yeah, number 25 for you.
25.
25. Yeah, number 25. Yep. Yeah, minus.
Yeah,
minus slightly.
We tried looking at this and we could not. I had 3 shots at it and failed on all 3 attempts to get bottles of it. It was my only tasting of it.
Well, I'm glad we've got it to you. So yeah, so look, I mean, this is a cross, isn't it? They've used 2 finishes on this, isn't it? PX and all are also finishing. 20 years old, eh? Absolutely. The colour on this as well. I mean, just to hark back to that colouring on the, you know, on the Bushmills, it's a little bit like a flat Coke kind of colour. You know, it's like a Coke that you've maybe been lying in the glass for a while. No bubbles in it. looks nice. This one here, very similar, but it's then got that kind of, it's got a kind of reddy kind of hue coming through. It's like a little red line that follows the glass. Nice and thick also. Oh, like here, that smell.
Oh,
Anyways, now here, that's the, we've gone from an outrageously, Johnny McCarthy, you're making me sad. Johnny, your box is sitting here if you want to come run and get it. Just drive round and get it.
Hope you're not drinking my whiskey, Paul.
No, it's sitting here. Do you know what? Yeah.
Johnny, could have given it away.
I'm giving it away as a prize. Does anyone want a box of whiskey? It's a prize now because Johnny's is sitting here. Yeah, listen. What is this? What is the smell on that dumbbells? What is that smell? That is delightful.
Yeah, I've been trying it for the last 5 minutes trying to place it. It's extremely pleasant, but I just can't put my thumb on it.
No, do you know it's seeing on the first whiff of it. On the first whiff of it, it wants to be like a strawberry, like it wants to be like a kind of like a picked berry, maybe like a strawberry, or it's very sweet like that. I guess it reminds me of like a kind of strawberry jam that I would have had with a wee bit of spice in it, a wee spice jam. I like that. Oh, again. I mean, could this is a tough one, because it's just come straight after that. But I think it actually stands up well. So it's standing up well to the Bushmills. We know it's not Bushmills, which is good. So we know this is coming from the Cooley distillery. But such a marked difference between its earlier predecessors. So anything, even the cast strength 12-year-old PX. I mean, this is a big step up from the Dunbills. On the nose, I'm not getting what I was expecting straight away, because I was going to expect to have those big apples. I don't get that directly. I'm getting berries before I get apple. And then on the taste, I'm getting a stewed plum or something. It's like a stewed plum, but it's like lovely wee peppery notes. The front of the tongue is getting spice. We didn't talk about spice very much when we talked about the Bushmills, did we? No, we talked about real sugary fruit, leathers, nearly a more savoury, but that note maybe from the kind of earthy kind of note. This is different. This is sweeter in some respects, but spicier. Certainly the spice coming through from those casks and the front of the tongue is epic. Loving that, loving the fight that it has at the very front of my mouth. Then all of a sudden it's actually quite soft, smooth, softens out on the tongue. I'm liking that. What are we getting? People are saying cherry. You know what? Yep. Like a cherry would be not a bad shout. There was some chat going on there. People are talking about, what is it? People are talking about their New Year's resolutions to join the Whiskey Club. Loving that idea, Bob. That's a really good idea. Join the Whiskey Club, sure, why not? Look, it's good fun. Everyone has a bit of crack. Richard, what do you make of that? What are you thinking?
The wife was saying that when we were back in Dingle for the festivals, we got some very fresh field strawberries, Wexford strawberries, and she says it tastes a lot like the wild strawberries.
Isn't it? That's 100% a note. No, I mean, I definitely get that, and it's lovely. Do you know what? I feel kind of bad. I've had these whiskies here, and I could have. Oh, do you know what? There's something to talk about in a wee while. But I was going to say, like, I could have had that. Actually, I could talk about it just now because we don't have it in this pack. But do you know what? You know the other Bushmills that released, the 2008 Bushmills that released here in Ireland. Again, cast strength. I actually used that when we do our stuffing here at home. We use whiskey in the stuffing. And 3 years ago, the Power single cask, which is here later on in the tasting from the friend at hand, we actually used that in the taste in the stuffing, and it was the first time we'd used the whiskey in the stuffing, and it went down a treat. And then the next year again used the same one. The year after, last year, we used something really expensive. It was like £100 shot of whiskey, and it'll come to me what it was. It was very, very expensive, and because I said, listen, go ahead, use whatever's in the cupboard. You know, I mean, any shot, go ahead. Not really realizing that I had stuff in there that was very expensive. Was it? No, hold on. It'll come to me. I think, yeah, it was. Do you know what? I think it might have been a Cumber 7-year-old. I've got the feeling it might have been a Cumber 7-year-old from the 1930s, give or take, and it was used. But anyway, that's beside the point. This year I used the 2008 Bushmills. A whole 50 mils of that went into the stuffing, and it was unreal. I'm telling you how, honestly, you know, I love stuffing, but whiskey infused stuffing, and the Bushmills one, it just went down an absolute treat. Even more so, you know, I've got 3 young kids, and they were wrecked after it. No, they weren't. But you know, it's certainly something I really appreciate. I really like using whiskey in cooking. I think it's really good. Some of the taste you get is just absolutely brilliant. But yeah, sorry. This Dunville's, I mean, look, Ecklenville are doing a grand job, aren't they? You know what I mean? Putting out some really good. I was talking about this earlier in the earlier session. They've done really well. Being the custodians of this name at the moment, they've done really well. They're being nearly, you know, they're nearly bettering, you know, what you maybe expect. You know, Dunville's at its peak, you know, had 3 expressions. Dunville's now has lots of expressions, and it's really nice to see. It's a progression of Irish whiskey. It's a progression of a brand, and it shows the intent that Ecklenville have as a distillery as to where they want to go. So fair play to Graham, who's doing a lot of the hard labour, you know, tasting whiskies every day. Down there, he's putting a hard shift in, and obviously Jarlath, and now Stevie McGuinness has joined as well. Peter and obviously Shane behind the whole thing. But they've got so many good staff. Susan and Anne-Marie have been helping me out a fair wee bit as well. These are people who have welcomed me into their home. That distillery is like, it's just a big family get-together. Everyone's in doing their own thing, helping out the distillery. So I've been very, very lucky to be down there in the summer there, and then again, you know, down the last couple of weeks sorting out this festival. It's been great, but I really like what they've done. I've been privileged, I think, to have a taste of a couple of whiskies that will be released and are coming out, and I'm just, I can't wait for their own liquid. I must stress this as much as I can. This is Dunville's. This is a brand. This is something that you know, they're using liquid from elsewhere, sourced liquid, and they're manipulating it, and they're doing very, very well. But their own liquid, Ecklenville's own liquid, I am telling you, no word of lie, I think it could be released quickly, and yet, based on the taste, and yet the distillery, there's no rush, and they're very calm, and they're looking forward to releasing high quality, very, very tasty single malt, single pot still whiskey. So yeah, looking forward to that. They've got the blend coming out very soon, which will be very interesting to taste. But yeah, I think what they've done here, just right. Anyone not liking the Dunvilles again? Anyone thinking it's
I love this. Quite nice.
Good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really, really good. Liking that.
Great nose.
Super nose. Like, let me see what we've got. Oh, now this is hard to beat. This is my favourite Redbreast. Ouch. I must say, like, I put together these packs thinking, if I don't like it, it's not going in the pack kind of idea. You know what I mean? So it's in the pack because I like it. The number 26 in your box is the Redbreast Friend at Hand 25-year-old single cask. 53.5%, pound for pound, euro for euro, dollar for dollar, the best priced redbreast on the market, single cask redbreast on the market. There is no doubt about that. And the fact that they do not sell this online means that people have to come to the shop. People have to come and support what's going on there at Friend at Hand. Now, again, these festivals, these tastings couldn't take place really without them. I buy most of the Irish whiskey that are in these festivals from the Friend at Hand, buying it directly from the shop. And it's been tough for them recently. Unfortunately, they've had to make a lot of the staff within the pubs down there all redundant, because of what's going on. And actually, spending a couple of £1,000 on whiskey in there is keeping things ticking over, which is good. But no, I'm a massive fan of this one. I'm just going to check, see what number it is on me. Redbreast. Yeah. I did this pair. I did the redbreast paired off with box number 2. Yeah, here we go. I paired this off with some of the dream casks before. I've paired it off with lots of single casks, and I don't think it's been beaten. I think there's been a bit of hype about the dream casks. I think that's fair to say. There's been a lot of hype about dream casks, and with that comes expectations. Whereas the Friend at Hand redbreast, I don't think there was expectations, and there certainly hasn't been a great hype about it. But when it's gone to tastings and when people have had the chance to taste it, there's been a marker set down. There's definitely a marker set down here. This is very much, so number 26 in your box, this is very much that kind of flat Coke look. It's deep, it's brown. It's not your kind of reds and your pinks and your orange hues and ambers. It's definitely a brown note, and it literally looks
flat Coke.
Sorry?
Flat Coke, definitely.
Yeah, flat Coke, 100%. And yet the smell on this is trumping these previous two. And Richard, we may have set bars high, Robert, we may have set them high. But I think we're stepping up little bits at a time. Do you know what I mean? It's just wobbling. It's like, it's like when the person does the high jump, runs along and just clips the bar and it wobbles a little bit. That's it. I don't think it's going to fall on its arse.
It's very difficult to beat a single cask redbreast. Very difficult.
And Richard, have you had this one before?
Multiple times. We took the train up from Belfast. We went to the train up from Dublin to Belfast just to pick up a bottle of this.
Do you know what? The ticket price alone,
worth it.
Is well worth it because it's still cheaper. Do you know what I mean? It's still cheaper than buying some of the bottles in Dublin for what for some of those single casks in Dublin. And I don't know. There's not that many bottles left. I know for a fact I have now purchased well over 10 bottles of this, and we've cracked them open and we've drunk them, and that's been important. That I've got this out to as many people as I can because I want people to drink this. I want people to come back into Belfast and go, I want to go and buy that bottle. It's very important that I do, and it's funny. They have at the moment they have 3 bottles. They have a Friend at Hand redbreast, Friend at Hand Powers, and a Friend at Hand Middleton. And they're about to have a second Powers bottle and a second Middleton bottle. And they've been very lucky. The taste profiling on each one of these casks, somehow, just to me, is just spot on. And even even when you do a blind tasting with people and you say, what do you make of that? What do you make of that? What do you make of that? People are easy to pick out the Friend at Hand bottlings. And it's so... I think this is unique. I think this is a unique redbreast. I don't think it can be compared directly to any of the other ones. There's not one which I think has the same kind of profiles. Do you know what? Is that damp sweetness? It's like wet icing on it on a cake. you know, and it's not, the cake's warm, you put the icing on it, it's not set, and you're licking it off. That's that sweetness. Man. But do you know what it doesn't have? It doesn't have mass amount of spice. You know, it's not massive spice for the redbreast. You know, it's...
Yeah, it's very low. Yeah, it's not that spicy.
No, lovely spice. It's just, it's little tiny fizzy on your tongue, like fizziness rather than, you know, really clawing into your tongue. It's fizzy. It kind of pitters across, you know, pitter-patters across your tongue. Really, really nice, side to side. Goes into the top of your mouth, and then I think you get a lovely warmth from this one, similar to the bush, slightly in that warmth that feels. But this one, I think, just comes in at the right kind of temperature to your mouth. I really like it. Goes down really well. I think, you know what, I feel sorry for people who haven't had the chance to taste this, because I think that once it's gone, and we will be at a stage where I know that people will, you know, they collect them. Obviously, they collect them. You know, we're not going to harp on about people collecting whiskies, but cracking these open are super important. But once I'm scared that we're going to run out. You know, I do see that. There was I think they sold a quantity to a fella in, I think it was in Japan, and he made the call to the shop and said, listen, I want X amount of bottles, and they said, yes, that's perfectly fine, you can have X amount of bottles, that's no worries, and we'll keep them here until you come over and you take them with you. Do you know what I mean? We're not sending them to Japan. You know, come and get them, and fair enough. Over he comes and takes them. You know what I mean?
Fair play.
Do you know what? Again, if you stand this directly next to a 25-year-old Scotch and give it the same credence, I mean, what have we got here? You know, I don't know. I tend to find the value of this bottle, does rightly, and it's done really well for the brand. I think, you know, to have bottles like this still at a reasonable price point for the amount of liquid you're getting, and for the taste and profile. I think sometimes brands can be devalued if the cost at retail is sky high, and people are put off by the price. You know, so I think they've done well. Really do.
I'm scanning this up next to the Redbreast 27. The Redbreast 27 is a lot more bolder in the fruit, in the jammy, and the stone flavors. You can definitely pick it up in here. It's a little more subdued. This is a little more aggressive, but you can find the DNA from that Redbreast 27 in here, and you're at 2/3 the price of Redbreast 27.
Yeah, well, I think that was the whole point, wasn't it? That this, yeah. Do you know what? What would you rather have? I don't know. Redbreast 27 at the moment is mass produced, isn't it? You know, we're going to have batches of it. So there was a lot of it. I just think when you've got like 600 bottles max, you know, that you have the opportunity to have one. I'll be honest, I actually don't have one for my own personal collection at the moment because I've been drinking them. You know, there's none that are sitting unopened. They've all been opened. I like the 27. I'll be honest. I'm a fan. Just like I like the Dreamcast 28. I just thought that was really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. You know, but again, if I was to blind myself and just put a couple of Redbreasts down, I know for a fact my taste buds would take me here. You know, and I think that it would be a toss up between, you know, the 28 and this at the moment. Yeah, I really do like that. I'm wondering if anyone hates it. I'm wondering if people have got to the point they're just like, nah, I couldn't drink that. That's not something I can taste. They would be.
Yeah, I opened up another one of these.
Look, do you know what? we've got a box here. Johnny's left his box here, so we can, if people don't, we could just give it away if it's that bad. You know what I mean? I've actually got. Do you know what I've got to go along with this? Because obviously I need food when I'm doing this. But a little Rosie's strawberry rose. Yeah, need one of these just now. But a wee bit of sugar.
That to reset the palate.
Mm-hmm. That and some water, but because I know we're moving on. I don't have number 27 on me. I don't have it.
27.
So 27 is your green spot. 2008, the Palace Bar single cask. And again, it was good. It was good for everyone who had the chance to go down to Dublin Live in 2019. Palace Bar did that whole thing. We're going to sell you. We're going to sell you the newest green spot that weekend. And I fell into that trap. I was like, you know what? I need one of these. Just there was a bit of hype about it. Yeah. Sorry.
I did as well, Paul.
Robert, you just kind of fall into that trap, isn't it? You're like, I need to get one. So I ended up going in, and I was there at night time after the session, and I went, listen, I'll take one. And then I could see a couple, and I went, do you know what? Give me two. Yeah, give me two. Just give me two. So look, they've both been polished off. They are very good whiskies to have around. I like that. I like the Palace Bar, and also like the Whiskey Exchange, the Malaga cask one, isn't it? I think it's Malaga. I'm sure it's Marsala cask. Sorry, Marsala cask. Why did I say Malaga cask? Because we're on that Bushmills. The Marsala cask, both very good. I would say that the Palace Bar for me edges it. Out of all the casks that I've had, all the single casks so far, it's edging it. That's why it's in this box. I could have gone down the route of picking out just about any of them. The cost again is starting to.
Yeah, $3.50.
It's starting to gnaw at me the kind of costing of some of these single cask expressions. But look, if we can bring it at cost pricing, that's the main thing. If we can do this in this type of manner, but I think, yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I think that I understand that people are buying casks and they have to make some profit from it, but I still think at the same time there's a level in which people will pay, and I don't want everyone just to collect whiskey. I want everyone to try and drink the whiskey. So, yeah, and I believe it sold out very quickly. If it didn't sell out that weekend, I would have been surprised. I think everyone and their dog wanted one. It was definitely worth picking up. Yeah, and you guys have it, so you guys can go through the motions, and tell me what it's like. But we'll tell the readership here. But unfortunately, when I poured this, this was all done freehand. It was free pouring. I did it myself, and to be honest, which has meant that I've missed out on a couple. Yeah, and because I've only used maybe one bottle of this, and maybe I don't have an extra.
No, I finished it off, but no, not next.
Here, the boxes are great though, eh? Like, I like what they've done there. Indeed. No, I like those boxes. I think that I don't know, are the boxes numbered as well, Robert? I can't remember the boxes numbered. No, I don't.
No, boxes aren't numbered.
Just the bottle. Just the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is I got so the bottle. One of the bottles I had, I went for the snooker break. I specifically asked for the number. I went for the 147. Went for the snooker break, but it's funny. Bottles and numbers don't necessarily mean anything to me. I've just been very lucky when I've purchased the Dunville's bottles, and I don't know how I've managed it, but every time I seem to purchase a Dunville's bottle, I've always had I think it's been the same number over all the series of individual casks. which I think has been quite smart. But I do chase a number, so I do look if I can find a number. I like 007. I'm really kind of weird by that. I like that idea. I like the 007 number, so I'll go looking for it. But and I know that some people they like number 1, and obviously maybe that's got a bit of relevance to them. And then people find their birth year, or they find like the kid's birthday or whatever it is. They are good fun in that respect. We're talking earlier on about the Middleton MVR range and this whole idea that you can go from, and I'm looking at those boxes behind you, Robert. I'm just thinking to myself, like, you go from 1984 all the way through, and it's nice. There's not many whiskies that have that tradition or have that kind of consecutive numbering system that's been put in place. I did say earlier on that Bushmills, if people were smart and had a wee think about it, Bushmills 21 have something similar and have done something similar over the years. So they have had a release every year, which is an individual release of the Bushmills 21-year-old. But it's just never been as popular or indeed publicised maybe as much as the MVR. And I couldn't really think of anyone else in Irish. Writer's Tears, yes, they've started to have a cast strength, series, and that's started, and that's nice to see. But really, that's really about it, isn't it? We've got batches, but we don't really have that numbering system in place. So nice to see, and it looks great in a collection. I've seen them, wall to wall, floor to ceiling collections, and they do look awesome. They look really, really quite smart. So, listen, for those that are drinking that Green Spot, I hope you're really enjoying it. It should be. Do you know what? It should entice you to go and buy it if you see it, because it is one of those. It's one of those iconic Green Spots. Far better, and look, I am a Green Spot fan. I'm a Spot fan. I was talking about this earlier. I do like the Spots. I like the Green Spot. I've always been, drawn to it. I think it's really just one of those oily, thick, pot stills. The 12-year-old yellow Spot's lovely. Also, that new 15 hit the spot for me. Thought it was really good. And then the blue Spot. Blue Spot's just been great. It's just it's banging for a 7-year-old. Absolutely brilliant, So 7-year-old, whiskey. I'm just thinking, do you know what? Yeah, you've done really well there. You've pulled out all the stops. So I'm glad they've done that. It's nice to see the full range. The two Green Spots, which are the wine finishes, are really good also. In fact, I'd say the wine finishes are better than the original Green Spot. I do like them.
Yeah.
And again, price point, really good prices. Not extravagant prices, really good prices. Yeah, no, I like it. Yes, Michael, I'm glad that you got a bottle. Yes, and also and the measure also, because it's good to taste. Sometimes I really want to see. I don't know. Some people during the whiskey festival in the summer there would have bought the festival edition. But I tried to put out as much of it as possible into some of the tasting packs for people to try. And I think that's nice, if we can get... And I know that Barry has done something similarly for the Stories and Sips guys in the States, that he's managed to get these bottles out and also give like a little miniature to taste. That's lovely. Really nice to see that. We lack in Ireland lots of miniatures to taste, we just don't have a lot, which is why I think tastings like this are really important, because it gives you the chance. Taste some of this stuff, particularly the premium stuff, cast strength stuff, taste it, and then go, do you know what, if I can go and buy a bottle, I will. If not, at least I've tasted it and I've had the opportunity to taste it and make an opinion of it. I'm going to move on to your number 28, which is the Middleton. So this is the Middleton 1989 from the Friend at Hand. Okay, let me have a look. Middleton. Number 30.
One thing is that
You're number 28.
28.
Number 28, Middleton.
Number 20.
28, yeah, 28. For me, it's a different number, that's all. I'm having to look for a different number on my tasting sheet because I have lots of numbers in front of me. So, slightly different, but yes. The Middleton... Yep, 20. Yep, 20. Yep, 28.
Yeah, well, 1D in Middleton.
28, 20-year-old,
Yeah.
1999, single cask. Yep, 100%. This
Yeah.
one here, super.
Yeah, 1D.
But yeah, look, as I said, the friend at hand somehow have managed to pick out some really good casks, and I think they're very fortunate, very, very lucky. I think there's nothing else to describe it other than luck. And I don't know. I'm not a massive fan. I'm not that I don't like it. I hope that people don't take that from what I'm about to say, but I'm not a massive fan of the MVRs. And I'm not a massive fan because actually I've tasted plenty of them. And there's just something lacking, which I would have expected from the Middletons. And then there's definitely a marked step between a Middleton MVR and the Barry Crockett, for example's sake, or the MVR and their single cask offerings. You know, there's definitely step variances that we have. This to me, and again, it's at 46%, so not expecting mass amounts. The trees, now there's something different. The trees are interesting. All those cast strength trees, the Dark Gaelic range, really some of them stand out big time. I've had the great opportunity of tasting all those trees side by side. Very, very, very privileged to have that. And I did done my own tasting of the trees with people, you know, trying to, you know, share the love of those trees. But this to me, this and there's the Blake's the Hollow, their first MVR release, Blake's the Hollow. These two are my favourite Middleton, outside of the trees. Really, really nice. That vanilla note directly on the nose is just great. And it's
this is the friend at hand, that one, right? This is the new one that this is the new friend at hand that they're releasing.
No, it's not the new friend at hand. Now we have to put that in there. We should have put the new friend at hand in it. The new friend at hand is not in here. So this is the 20-year-old 1999 single cask, not the new Middleton. So it's not that. Unfortunately, what happened was, and it's a really strange story, that was due to be released. They did an opening release. So they did an opening release whereby they had, you know, bloggers and influencers. Before Christmas time, they sent out some samples. The bottles were then meant to be sold there and then. I would have picked some up that week and would have used them within the tastings. And unfortunately, I had to change things very quickly because actually the bottles had the wrong information on it and had to be sent back to the bottling plant for relabeling. So actually, they don't exist to buy. You can't buy them just yet. They won't be around, I think, until the new year, maybe even until February time now. I'm assuming that you can't purchase this. So no, this is the first bottling, which I find, and yes, maybe I should caveat that and have tasted the new one. And what I would say is it's extremely different to this. So the new one which they use is using Irish virgin oak. This one isn't. This one's using this one's just using bourbon barrels. But I think what you get from this is that real sweet vanilla note. Yeah, and
Get a lot of bananas on it too.
no, you're quite right, Richard. We spoke about bananas. Certainly Joe McGowan, who's the rep up here in Northern Ireland. Yep, he would make direct reference to bananas, 100%. Who was that? Sorry, Robert.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be that.
Oh, I just crashed. Computer crashed.
Mike, you okay? You having fun?
Yeah, there's very little influence from the oak in this one.
Yeah, little influence from the oak. Did you say, Mike? Yes.
Yeah, 20 years, you'd expect slightly more, especially inside in the American, what was American virgin oak.
And here, what do you make? What do you make of it?
I quite like it. But
it's very calming. It's a very calming whiskey. We've come down. We've had those really high end, big punchy numbers, and we've got to what I think is a very delicate expression here. That 46% is just about the right level of alcohol for it. And it's very delicate.
I think they obviously spent a little bit of time in taking the alcohol levels to balance with it.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
You could drink lots of this. Like lots of it, and it is actually
Very smooth.
Yeah.
very easy to drink. Very easy to drink. And I find it one of those liquids that once we've poured it, it would go down a lot quicker than particularly that first Bushmills. I could have maybe spent hours with a Bush. This to me, I would be sipping away at it and just constantly sipping at it, not realizing that I've drunk a glass and gone, right, I need another glass. And the bottle would go down a lot quicker. Not that I'm disrespecting it in that respect, because it's actually me saying, do you know what? It's very moresome, like moresome and quickly moresome. Yeah, I do. I'm appreciating that.
Yeah, really.
Mike, where are you joining us from? Where are you calling us from?
Well, at the moment, from the not so sunny southeast.
Is it wet down there? Is it?
Yeah, we're starting to get up the storm here.
Yeah, listen, I tell you what, it picked up a bit of wind. I picked up a bit of wind up here today. I turned my backyard last night. I turned my backyard into a tip. You know what I mean? I had all the rubbish from the house, from all the wrappings and everything else.
Yeah.
Put it out in the boxes, put it outside. This morning, while breakfast was being fried up, I looked outside and I thought I saw a flying box, and I was like, "What's going on there?" And then I realised I'd put all my rubbish outside. You know what I mean? So I went outside and I was collecting rubbish this morning, but it picked up a bit of a wind, and I can tell, like, it started to get windier here tonight, and I think that we're due some heavy gales, aren't we? We're due some heavy gales.
Yeah, we certainly are. I like Richard's background. He has our local
Henry Downs.
One of our locals, Henry Downs, and as his background.
Would you go in there, Mike, for a pint? Would you?
Yeah, it's quite iconic place, and they have their own whiskey down, which is a blend. It has obviously changed over the years, and the chap that owns it now, Johnny the Bromhead, it there's good few stories out of it. There's actually a well in the middle of the floor, and they used to use the water out of the well to in blending the whiskey in that years ago.
No, he did not.
Yeah, and you can go in and have a glass frame over the well, so you can actually see down into the well.
Wow.
Yeah, and at the back of that, they actually have squash courts that apparently years ago, when the ships were coming into the docks in Waterford, a lot of whiskey was imported, exported, and that. But when they were trying to bring some of the whiskey up into the pub, there was a few robberies. So allegedly, no proof of this, that they have a tunnel going down as far as the docks, because it was the safest way to get the kegs or the casks up into the pub.
Do you know what? If that's physically possible, that'd be pretty awesome. Like, that would be cool, wouldn't it? I love the idea of smuggling casks up and down a wee alleyway. You know what I mean? That people can't see. There's actually Copeland Distillery, which are the guys up in Donegal are starting there's a new distillery which is coming online. They've started to produce their own whiskey, and obviously they're going to be waiting for it for a couple of years. But they actually there's a piece of history there about smuggling into that part of Ireland. These whiskies, and they have a whole thing where there's like little between the cove and the village, these little runs, these little rat runs as they were, and it would have just been straight from the beach, rolled on up and rolled the cash up these little rat runs. And I think stories like that are awesome. I genuinely do. I think it's great, and you know what? It's great to go and see, isn't it? I now want to go, and I will make it my an aim is to now go to Henry Downs now to go and see this well, because I want to see this.
Oh yeah.
And we also have another pub, which is owned by a guy by the name of Thomas Marr, and Collins Street, and he'd a row with Guinnesses years ago, but he would never sell Guinness. It was always Murphy Stout, but he also had his own whiskey, and he used to blend his own, he would not allow women into the pub.
What?
Yeah, his belief was that a woman's place was in the home, and he also had very strict hours. He would never leave. He would never stay open later than 10 o'clock in the evening, and like a lot of the local, there was a lot of offices and that down there, and he'd open at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever, and you'd go in, you'd have your drink, but you'd have to go home then. And if he saw you taking money out of a waste packet, he would refuse to serve you.
Really?
When you brought your money home, yeah. And I think they did a program there some time ago on television, on RTE. He told him that that it wasn't the right place for a woman, even though he had a snug that if you were married, you could go into the snug.
You know what? It's strange the values that people host upon whiskey and alcohol in general, and obviously and the values they have about the opposite sex and indeed different people. But that's interesting, and I think that hopefully times are changing, because quite frankly, women, I think just women in general are just grasping whiskey, by the bottleneck and just going for it, because it's actually. It's we ran our festival in 2019. We ran our first festival, and our strapline for that festival was, "It's no longer your dad's drink." Whiskey is no longer your dad's drink, and it is about in terms of what it offers. It offers a hell of a lot of choice to just about everybody, no matter their age or their sex. Or indeed what they've drunk before. Maybe they're wine drinkers, or they're Guinness drinkers, or beer drinkers, or whatever it is. That whiskey actually offers mass amount of tasting profiles for just every taste, because of those cask finishes, particularly, but also just because of the variants that we have. And I think that what I've noticed, and maybe I'm talking out of turn, but what I've noticed is a marked change in the way in which alcohol, particularly whiskey, is being advertised. It's no longer, and whiskey would have been quite sexist. Some of the advertising was very sexist, and it's now, it's now playing a part, to cater for all parts of society, rather than, and I'm just thinking of some of those early Dunville adverts, maybe early, Bushmills adverts, even. Certainly a lot of old Scotch adverts, which really were sexist, making it out to be that a woman couldn't handle whiskey, and and even things like you couldn't handle your man. Why do you think you could handle whiskey? Kind of idea, and that was I'm glad that we're moving away from that. Interesting though, when it comes to bars, there is a bar up in Ballycastle, which I think had something similar. That there was a piece of the bar, which is nearly on the street, as it were. It's like it's still on the road, and yet it's not part. It's not part of the bar at all. And it's this idea of, you can come in here, and you can't come any further. And literally, there's no seats. You're not allowed to sit in it. You can come into this wee bit, and it's maybe you can maybe fit about 2 or 3 people in it, and you can sit there, and you can stand there, and you can wait for your husband to finish his drink. You can maybe have a wee drink while you're waiting, but that's it. You're not coming in here. And I think that, even the way in which the bars were designed and have been designed, I think it's fascinating. I don't accept it, but I think it's fascinating, and I think it's nice that we're obviously we're certainly moving away from that.
Takes a bit, God, but
100%, mate, 100%.
Yeah, we have another pub here, J&K Walsh's, and I don't know if you come across Darren Green and that.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have, even though it's a very small pub, they still have a snug in it.
I love a good snug. There's still a snug in the Palace Bar. You need a wee snug.
That's right, yeah.
Mike, you need a snug. I remember a bar I would have frequented back home in Scotland, and genuinely, you needed a snug. You needed that wee space. It's good, very good for private meetings. Very good for a private meeting. But it was also, you had direct access to the bar. Most snugs had that direct access that you just put your hand through the wee mailbox, and you got your pint handed to you.
That's it. Yeah.
So they come in handy enough. Like, they come in handy. Listen,
and I leave it at this. Like, we have a young whiskey. We're only 2 years. We have a whiskey society here in Waterford, and in January this will be our 2nd year. And it's amazing the amount of women that we have had, interest in joining or coming to our tastings and that.
Yes. And
it's fantastic to see it.
Isn't it, Mike? I think, I've heard a lot about Waterford Whiskey Society, and that's absolutely brilliant what you guys are doing down there. I've seen the tastings, I've seen the stuff that you're pumping out to your members. And do you know what, Mike? I think it is a marked change across the country. We are now within the Belfast Whiskey Club, rightly saying that we're about, I think we're at least a quarter of our membership are women. I would say that 3/4 of our membership are under the age of 45. So they're young, young group.
I would be one of the oldest.
Actually, Mike, you're only 46.
You got that the other way around.
I thought I was being polite. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the Middleton there. That was a good one. We're going to move on, and I don't have a sample of it, right? But this is a very interesting single cask. Number 29 on your list. So number 29 is 1989, 27-year-old rum cask, single rum cask. 48.2%. Now, I don't have it in front of me. I have tasted it, and I absolutely think it is amazing. But
where's the problem?
Yeah, okay, so you guys, I didn't give much information about that, and I don't really want to give much information until I can get myself another bottle. And this was really sad of me. There's I know for a fact if I talk about it, people will go and buy it, and I'd be frightened in case I didn't get another bottle. That sounds really daft, doesn't it? But it's an independent release. Okay, so the next two are independent releases. So this one here and the next Bushmills, independent releases. All right. This one here is released through a Scottish company. So Scottish company, sold through the UK, and very much under the radar. Not many people will really have picked up on this one. When I picked up on it, when I purchased it for myself, I was just blown away. And I will release, for those who want to know about it, I will message them directly the name of the company that sells it. And if they really want it, I'm sure they could go and buy one. But I'm just scared in case they run out and I don't get one. So I might have to do it while we're on the call, actually. I'm probably going to be one. And then, do you know what? Once I bought it, then I'll tell you where it came from. I think that's fair enough on it. Here's me making sure I get it again. So yeah, look, and I feel kind of bad that I don't have one to taste for myself, because I'm a massive fan of these cask influences. Rum cask, single rum cask influenced. If everyone had followed the Whiskey Festival, our Whiskey Festival bottling this year was from Cologne, but it was Bushmills. Bushmills liquid, 11 years old, even though it was marked a 10-year-old on label. It's an 11-year-old liquid, really, and it was finished off in carbine rum cask in a firkin. You know what? For this whiskey that you've got in front of you, 27 years old, full rum cask maturation. So then, real sweet, heavenly notes there. Gutted, I genuinely don't have one to taste.
I'm a rum drinker. I love rum, and man, the rum on this is just spectacular. It's got that little cinnamon spice to it.
Yeah.
The rum is just real forward, but the whiskey is still holding its own. And wow, this is amazing.
I know, but it's got that petrol note. The very start, it's got that petrol note that you just rips right through you, and you're like, "Whoa, am I getting my car filled up at this point? What is going on here?" It is. Do you know what? The rum influence is huge, and it's not shy. But that whiskey, that whiskey cuts deep. Like that whiskey cuts deep. Is really well. It's holding its own there. 27-year-old, whiskey. More than likely, going to assume 100% Bushmills. I'm going to assume that. I'm going to, stick my neck out in the line and say that's exactly where I think that whiskey is coming from. I wouldn't be too confident to think that Cooley liquid would have been fully cask matured in rum casks. But I would suggest that definitely I am 100% aware that Bushmills was doing that. So I am going to suggest that that's exactly where it's from.
Wow, that's beautiful spice.
Yeah. I'm just glad I got it out there. It was just one of those things, when you see a whiskey and you kind of think, oh, I wonder if that would taste good. But I didn't have to think of that, because when I bought it, I was like, I know this will taste good. So I had to buy a second one once I drank the first one. And I thought, when I had that second one sitting there and I was creating these boxes, I went, do you know what? No one spoke about this. This isn't a whiskey that I hear being talked about. And again, that's what I'm saying. Once I purchase this, I'll tell you where you can get it, and you can do what you like. No one's paying me to tell you anything, and I'm not telling you to buy from anyone either. It's like, I don't know. If someone doesn't like it, just explain to me that you don't like it. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm okay.
Plantations put out puts out single cask rums, and they have a Guatemala XO rum that is just spectacular, and it has the almost exact same characteristics as this. So I would probably put my neck out of line and say that's a Guatemala rum cask that they put it in, but it is really good. Cinnamon, pineapple, a little bit of banana, really, really good.
Yeah, and you're hitting all the exact same tasting notes that I certainly would have picked up on. Those, and you know what, you expect that from a rum cask. It doesn't disappoint. I think you don't want to be let down, and it just can't let you down. The cask has done well. Let me just see. Do you know what? I'm hoping there's some left, because it's going to do my head in if I can't purchase it myself.
It's actually like you're having.
Oh, I found it.
It's like you're drinking rum and whiskey at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
There. Oh.
I found it. I'm just going to buy it. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry. Here's me a way to buy it. Like, oh yeah. All right, I was going to buy it. If anyone wants, I can buy two at the same time. What is it? It's not letting me buy it. Why won't you let me buy it? Okay, here we go. Check out now. Check out. Usually. Check out. Okay.
This is for making a fantastic broadcast, Paul. Thanks.
Sorry, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm buying a bottle of whiskey because they're drinking it all and there's none left, and I need some before I tell them where I got it from. We just need to do this. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Paul, you can call out your credit card number to us. Don't worry.
You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly.
Yeah,
You can just read the flips.
Go ahead, Paul.
That's exactly right. I want to pay by PayPal. Let me do it. PayPal will let me do that. That's the question. Continue to see. Yeah, I'm not thinking it will, which is really good. Yeah. So look, I'm sorry that I don't have it. Is anyone not liking it? Because I suppose for me, we're okay. We're all right. We did okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really unique.
Good.
Yeah, I'll definitely be hunting down a bottle of this once I get the info from you.
No. Please get enough from me, please. Do you know what? Now I'm going to buy them all.
Then sell them back and double the price to the West Office.
No, I wouldn't hear. That's not me. Indeed, what I would do is just open it again and give people more. We'll just let more people drink it. I'm actually tempted to buy two.
I've said that's one of the good things.
Who's coaxing me in the background there? Do it.
Me.
I'll definitely encourage you.
Would I have a problem here with Brexit?
That's it, isn't it? It's got to be bought. It's got to be bought now. That's right. You've got to buy it before. It's big mad dash to buy everything before the Brexit kicks in.
FOMO.
Yeah, we've got to. We've got to buy everything from the mainland and then ship it in here and then drive it down south before they start building, sea barriers and big massive walls. I was driving down the border the other day and just going through down to Dundalk, and the police had stopped me because there's still the COVID issues going on specifically, and I wear this big mask at the moment. It's like a big,
Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader kind of Bane mask thing, and I was wearing that, and yet the guard stopped me, and he was like, "No, you're taking this really seriously." And I went, "Yep." I mean, damn right, I'm taking it seriously. I mean, okay, I think I've done it. So yeah, just actually, I was just rereading. I was just rereading the piece on here. I said it was full cask maturation rum. It's not. It does say finish, but I still don't care. I don't care that it says that. I thought it was full cask maturation, but I'm not really that fussed. So we shall go with that. So if you want to buy it, it's on the Whiskey Exchange just now. So if you go to the Whiskey Exchange website, you can purchase it there. And I'm making use of it. So yeah. And you're looking for, when you're looking on it, you're looking for Jane. Type in Jane. So Jane. So Juliet Alpha November Echo Jane. And then space. Then Doe, which is DOE. There's some funny noises going on there. Someone,
I think you're hacked or something.
yeah, I think someone had something on in the background there. Very, very, very silly, very, very silly people there. Okay. 2 seconds. Yeah, so you're looking for Jane Doe, it's called. And you should be able to find it under that. I think this has been. There we go.
Yeah, they're not shipping down here.
See, I'll have to get it for you, Mike.
Ah.
Mike, if you need one and you want me to order you one at some point, you let me know, and I shall do it for you.
Yeah, I'd come. Yeah, I'd message you afterwards.
Good man, and hopefully there's some still there.
And
super.
I'll send you on the pay through PayPal.
Super. Excellent. Yeah, that's that done. I'm just glad I got myself one because you know what? It's one of those ones that people, they just haven't talked about. I hadn't heard it in any of the reviews. No one had come up with, discussions on it when I bought them. And I bought them a while ago, So to be honest, I was shocked there that there's still some on the go. So I'm glad I got some. Yeah, just very privileged to have had the opportunity, to do that. Yeah, really, 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 really privileged. Glad I could put it into the box. So yeah. Anyone disappointed with it? No, I think everyone got it. I think everyone understood it. Send us the link. Lorkins wants the link. Lorkin, do you need the link for this tasting on here, or are you looking for the link for the bottle? Huh? I think is he looking for the
Okay,
link?
you want a real crusher on this one? Whiskey Auctioneer sold one for 85 pounds.
Wow. That's really.
It's sold for 85 pounds.
Wow. That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That was a steal of the century. And it says there are only 159 bottles made.
How many?
It says only 159 bottles.
159
bottles. 1989.
This too, the Paul has.
I feel really bad. I'm just making everyone go and find it now.
We'll drain them of their sources.
Yeah,
Master Bones had them too, but they're already sold out. So.
Right. Well, here the guys, the independent company that does that, Malts of Scotland, really interesting stuff. I picked up a couple of they called them Jane Does, the Irish ones. and I picked up a couple of different ones over the years, and I've not been disappointed. So they have done well. Yeah, I like that. Love it when your bank sends you a message and says, "Do you realise you've just purchased something from Whiskey Exchange?" Yes, I do. I regularly purchase something from Whiskey Exchange. So yeah, Mike, we'll have to sort you out in our time. That's good. But
at another stage.
I got my reference there. Thank you for your purchase. Super stuff. We're flying. We're on the ball. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm sure there's people out here that monopolise on that. You know what I mean? If we're doing if we're doing tastings and we're saying here, go purchase X, Y, and Z from elsewhere. I don't have any links to do that. So Larkin, I'm sorry if that's what you're looking for. Whiskey Exchange. Type in Jane Doe. The Bushmills, the next one, the 24-year-old single cask somewhat, which is number 30 on your box. That is a European release, single cask. So it's not again, it's not directly from Bushmills, but 24-year-old single cask strength. It's not written down there in your notes. I've just noticed that. I don't know why it's not written down the cask strength. Maybe we didn't have that information to hand at that point. Let me just check on my list and give you the cask strength. Bear with me just now. So let's have a look. Really nice, really nice bottle. Comes with it. Do you know what I get about these European releases of Irish whiskies is that some of the labellings are great. The labelling for this one, I think, is the Giant's Causeway. If this is the one I'm thinking of, was it a Giant's Causeway release? There's been one recently which has had a painting of the distillery, which I thought was really nice, which I came across. But I collect, as well as drink as much as possible from Bushmills. I would collect as much Bushmills as possible. So I'd go around, looking to collect as many different variants of Bushmills. Let's have a look. You see if I wrote it down anywhere. John, I thought I took a picture of the actual bottle itself. What I would say here is, if we're dealing with a 20 now, it's fully sherry. Now this is, which I do know 100%, and I know that I maybe said the last one was fully rum, but it's not. It actually says finish on it. This one is a full sherry cask, 24-year-old single Bushmill. So, I thought to myself, if we put the other Bushmills in this Malaga cask, I thought, we need to be looking at something slightly different. We know what the Bushmills, what a bourbon cask, but full 24 years in sherry cask is what you've got there just now. So although I don't have a taste of it, I don't have one, to hand. That's definitely what it is. It's definitely the 24-year-old sherry cask.
Is that one on the Whiskey Exchange too? I can save on shipping.
Do you know what? I can't remember where I picked it up from, so I'm trying to find the picture for this one. And it's, do you know what? It would be ideal if it was in there. We'd just go back and buy it, wouldn't we? Let me have a quick look. Right, do you know what? I found it here. 2 seconds. It's a European one, so I don't think it was. I definitely don't think it was sold. Yeah, I don't think it was sold in the Whiskey Exchange. But let me just have a wee look here. And I'll give you the. No, sold in Europe, not sold in the UK. which is good for anyone who's in anyone who's obviously in anyone who's over there certainly can be buying it. So we've got 47.8%, and it's sold by a company. It was called the A. Oh, so this was one with the boat on it. I thought it was the one that had the. Thought it was the one that maybe had the. What do you call it? The causeway, the Giant's Causeway on it, but it's not. It's got a boat on it, which is a reflection, I think, of the steamship, which would have been used, the Bushmill steamship. So there's a picture of that, which is on it. Limited to 158 bottles, 24-year-old, bottled in 2016, distilled in 1991, and matured in sherry wood. Yes, a full maturation in sherry wood. If anyone's looking for a bottle and they like this one, again, I'm not really caring about whether or not to sell it or not, because it's not me selling it, but that's what the bottle looks like. So it's for ACLA selection. Went out into Europe. Okay. Really nice picture on it. Yeah, and look, very small, 158 bottles, limited edition of it. What do you make of that, guys? Because obviously I don't have it in front of me, but I'm fully aware of. I'm definitely fully aware of a full sherry cask and what that's like.
You haven't had the idea of the ABV?
The ABV? Sorry, I thought I'd put down the ABV. The ABV there was 47.8% was the ABV. It's down as a single cask. I would suggest that that's its strength at the end of 24 years potentially. I'm not sure if they would have watered it down, so I think that's probably where it's at. What do you make of that? What do you make of the nose on it? I want people to talk about it because I don't have it to drink, and I'm annoyed by myself because I don't have a sample in front of me, which has annoyed me because I really would have liked to have a wee dram there.
It's definitely an Oloroso cask anyway.
Yeah, Oloroso cask, yeah. So remember, in Bushmills, a lot of their whiskies, use sherry casks. So we've got sherry components. 100% ABV. I know, Stuart. I know. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know. I was going to say 147%. I don't even know where that came from either. Stuart, it's good to see you on. Thanks very much. Yeah, so they're well used to. They're well used to using sherry casks. You know what I mean? So yeah. What do we make of that? If we went back, I don't know if you've got it in front of you, but if you went back, I mean, I've got the Bushmills sitting there, the 95. If you went back to that, very similar age, yes, very similar age. There's 1 year out. Again, what did I say? It was distilled 1991, so distilled before the 95. What do we make of that? Is it a better whiskey? Does the full sherry maturation? What does it do for Bushmills whiskey? Does it give it, plenty of spice on the nose, on the taste?
It's just very smooth. There's no ethanol flavor at all. It's extremely pleasant drinking.
Okay. Oh, it's pushing is nice.
It's a lot sweeter. It doesn't have the same characteristics as the Causeway one at all. They're totally different.
Okay, good. Sergius from Irish Whiskey Magazine. Great to see you, Serge. Thanks very much for coming on. He says he's doubt that they were first full sherry casks. Okay, potentially, I don't know. I think I'd be limited in my own. So I know my limits, but very limited to know what would be a first fill or a second fill sherry cask, and what that would do to a spirit over the age of, for over 24-year period. So I would be limited to know that. I do know that it's very, again, just going back on my own tasting notes on this whiskey, a very, very, very strong, robust, Bushmills, and again reminding me of a very early, those kind of early 16-year-old notes that you get from the from that whiskey coming through. Anyone not liking it? Is it not? Should it not been in here? Is it something that I could have avoided? Put something else in instead? I just thought.
That's what you're right. That is. I think that it's absolutely fabulous. It's a real old Bushmills,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very much so, and I think it's I just wanted people to compare and contrast between that and the new release, that Cosmic Collection one, that Malaga cask. Although they're two different casks, I just thought they're in around the same time frame, same period, when we're making very good whiskey at Bushmills, and I'm just thinking to myself, are they worthy of talking about in the same sentence? And I think that when we said from the very start that there was a line, we'd started at high level. I don't think we've dropped yet, and unless I'm mistaken, I don't think we've dropped below that level yet. I don't think we've dropped it. Serge, Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you very much. You're such a kind guy. If anyone doesn't know who Serge is, he is absolutely brilliant. Paul, that Jane Doe, 1989, worth £225. That's a good question, Lorcan. I mean, I think so personally, that it's well worth £225 sterling. Yes, for a 27-year-old rum-influenced single malt from 1989. Yes, particularly when we think about what we're paying for some whiskies right now that are much younger. Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So hopefully, go ahead and take what you can. What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth the money, the rum bottle?
Lorcan, yeah, it's.
Yeah. Blush. Yes, Serge. You can blush, but you're such a lovely fella. That Irish Whiskey magazine is unreal. For everyone who read it, I'm glad we got such a good write-up for the festival and going forward for the festival in the summer. We've got big plans, so thank you very much, Serge. Genuinely mean that. Right, we're going to move on. I have the Powers here. Yeah, so the Powers, number 31 in your box is the 14-year-old single cask from the friend Anne. I'm going to have a wee dram of that. Number 20. Yep. So, like I said, they get a great opportunity, these guys, to pick some really good drams. So they've got the what do we make of that? I want people's impressions of this one. So this is the Powers 14-year-old single cask, 46%. Lots of single casks out there. Lots of single casks from Powers, but this one, I think it stands out amongst them all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great vanilla, but then really lovely spice on it, particularly on the nose. I love that spice. But again, that maybe it's got that. And if we reflect back on that Bruce Mills 1995 Malaga cast, you know what I mean? We've got some similarities, but you move to the Dunvilles 25, sniff that, and then sniff this again, and see that little strawberry connection. Spice strawberry on the nose, absolutely great. I'm just glad I'm drinking again because you guys have had two without me, and just disappointing not to have those two in front of me.
You got 9 from earlier, so you're okay.
I did, I had 9 earlier, 9, but it's okay. And plenty of whiskey in the stuffing as well, all day. So I don't know if people have had many Powers whiskey. I'm a massive fan of John's Lane. Massive fan of just the original gold label Powers. Really, really into that. And I would definitely set my stall out and say, do you know what? If someone's going to offer me a pot still and there was a choice on the table, I would definitely take a Powers. Bang. John's Lane's just great. It's just super.
Every time.
Yeah. So, you know what? I've been mildly impressed with all of the different single cast releases they've had. The guys at the Fundamental group who managed to get a cast strength single release, did really well there. And again, great taste in liquid. But I tend to find that this, to me, again, this has been good value for money. It just comes in at the right kind of price point, and again, only sourced at the shop. It just, I don't know. I think it doesn't lose the head when it comes to value for cash. It's also one of the ones that when you speak to the ambassadors, when they're talking about it, they're surprised by how good it is, and I was very lucky to be at the release of this when they released it in the Friend at Hand, and as I say, I've used it in my stuffing for 2 years in a row, which sounds really daft, but this in the stuffing was great. But it's a very easy go-to drink, and so simple. I really, really, really enjoy it. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. It's just for me. It's got that really nice spice at the very front, and against a fizzy spice, it really actually is like little tiny pineapple-y kind of spice, citrusy at a point, and then it kind of really sweetens out across the tongue, and starts to cling a little. Really like that. It doesn't dissipate too quickly. I do really like that.
Sorry, coughing.
Sure, you cough away. No bar at all.
Cough away. Cough.
No, it's not COVID. Not COVID. Not COVID. I promise.
That's okay. I'm safe.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, the 10-year-old Super Value single cask. Yeah. Now, I've tasted a couple of the Super Value single casks. They've had a couple. I've definitely had 2. Is this a new one, Michael? I'm not 100% sure if it's a new one. I might not have tasted it, but I have tasted. I've had 2. The original Super Value casks that they had. I had 2 of them in the past. I thought they were 14-year-olds. Maybe they're not. Maybe there was a 10-year-old in there. Guys, we're liking it. Is it approved of?
Totally.
Yeah, I think it fits into the box. I think it's worthy of being in there. Again, it's what I expect people when they come to Belfast, if they get the chance to be tasting, the whiskies that we have here, that that people can go into the Duke of York or into the Friend at Hand, into the Heart Bar and ask for a shot of it. To me, it is just if this is on the back shelf and the price is right for me for a dram, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm certainly happy to take it. Absolutely brilliant. Listen, and at 46%, there's just enough of a hit there. I don't think it needs any more alcohol. I know that I am for cask strength whiskies, but I don't think it needs it. I think it's just balanced enough. Any less alcohol, it might start to thin out a little bit. I just think there's enough oil in there. It's quite a thick. If we look at it, it's still quite a thick. Pot still. You can see how thick it is on the glass. It's still quite thick. Less alcohol might thin it out a little bit. Might ruin some of those other really kind of fruity, citrusy notes that we've got going on. Candied papaya. Maybe in there. Maybe that's what that is. Yeah, I really love the nose on it. The nose is absolutely superb. Super. The last one in your box, and I think he's here. I can see him. He's logged in just now, and he's more than welcome to come on and talk about it. Is Jamie from Hinch Distillery.
One.
So Jamie can come in here and talk about it. So this is number 1 in the box. Hinch,
Number 1.
Hinch 18-year-old. Now it says not released. It has just been released recently. This is an 18-year-old, 46% bourbon cask finished then in a wine cask. And if Jamie's on, I know he's on, but I know he's all done, but I know he's been really, really busy. So he can come on at some point and talk about it. He is definitely more than welcome. I have it here. Let me have a look. Number
1.
Yeah, number 1 for you, 100% number 1, and for me, slightly different because I need to go through my own sampling set here. If people saw my sampling set, I have 100 bottles sitting in front of me, so I need to.
Apologies.
No, don't be daft. For you, it's definitely number 1. For me, it's number 28. So, but it's perfectly fine. So the color on this is sublime. It's definitely different to what we've been seeing. So it's like a really kind of pinky kind of hue on there. I like that. Jamie said it was a ruby red hue. That's a nose in it. That's interesting. So very, very, very floral, delicate on the nose.
It kind of reminds me of a gin.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, do you know what? Funny you say that. I mean, we've come away from some massive, nosies here, right? And even with the 2 vanillas thrown in there, the Middleton and the pears, this is slightly botanical in terms of its nose. In terms that's floral. It's interesting. And we'll let Jamie, if he comes on and talks, that'll be great. I don't know how to. Maybe I'll phone him here. Maybe nudge him.
If you open a bag of kind of fruit sweets, hard-boiled fruit sweets, and when you open the bag, you get that whiff out of it. That's what reminds the nose of it.
Yeah, I hear you, Mike. I hear you on that. Let me get hold of him. Because I know he spoke about it earlier on. He was in the group earlier on and he was talking about it, and I know that he wanted to come on here. Oh, he's just messaged me. Can't unmute. All right, okay. Right, I get it. Okay, he's busy. Right, so he is busy. He's there. He's listening to what we're saying, but he can't talk because he's currently somewhere where I thought he wasn't allowed to be. Maybe England's a little bit different. Over here, I know at 8 o'clock tonight we're not allowed to be in a bar. Am I right in saying that?
You're right.
Yeah, that we've gone. However, in Englandshire, which is where he is just now, somewhere in England, they are allowed to still be in a bar at this point in time. I don't know when their lock-in starts. If it's after today, I don't know. 10 o'clock. He's listening. He's listening. He's just messaging saying at 10 o'clock they have to leave. So what do we want to know about this? I think we want to know where it comes from. I'm going to say it's Coolie Liquid. So we'll ask that. Is it Coolie Liquid, Jamie? You can answer that. It's Bush. It's Bush. It's Bush. Right. There you go. So he's told us Bushmills Liquid. And how long was it in the wine casks for? So he's going to give me an answer to that. 6 months. And the 6 months it was in wine.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months wine casks. And that's great because, you know, the wine casks that are being used, Terry Cross, who owns the distillery out at Balnahinch, the Hinch distillery, owns also a vineyard in France. And I was corrected today as to what his title is. He's called a wine geese, which is someone from Ireland who owns a vineyard in France. There's only 2 of them left, apparently, 2 original Irish owners of French vineyards. So we're using Cabernet and Merlot wine cask here, which hosted. Now, Louise could maybe help me here, but I'm not a massive understanding of what wine levels are. But this is the highest level of wine award, is it? You know, you're awarded a Grand Cuvée. Is that what it is?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is indeed.
So the casks that are being used are of high standard. I believe the wine itself retails in around about £45 a bottle. And oh my God, Mike! Oh my God, Mike! You are taking the proverbial. Mike has in front of him, those that can't see him on YouTube and Facebook, he has the set, which is you buy the bottle of whiskey, and it comes with the bottle of wine, which the whiskey was finished in the casks of. That's a beautiful presentation, Mike. Beautiful presentation, isn't it?
Absolutely fabulous presentation.
Unbelievable. And Mike, how did you get that so quickly down there?
Well, if I told you that, I'd have to take you outside.
Yeah, Mike, I tell you what, we could sit outside and have a dram any day. So, you know, I'm up for that. I'm up for that. You know what? It's been. I have
a very good friend.
Good. Do you know what? I went down the day that they opened the distillery, so they could sell. You know, they only open for 4 days. They won't open again now until middle of right. I know who got you. Someone's just told me. So our good man Val. That's good of him. That's good of him. But they'll open again in mid February. I know mid February. But you're just here, Mike. You're just right, because I tell you what, it's an interesting presentation. First of all, it's probably the first, and I was trying to rack my brains. I was trying to think of another bottle of whiskey that has been served with the wine which has been finished in, and I've not seen that.
Logistical and legal issues regarding that, which is why it's such a rare thing to happen. Yeah,
I think it's from what Jamie tells me, it was a tough process. From what Michael Morris has told me, it was a hard process. And yeah, he's just telling me it's Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot were the wines that were used, the barrels. Yeah, and he's just, again, I'm liking the fact he's listening to us and he's just messaging me saying it's 2 different tax rates. You got tax rate for the whiskey, tax rate for the wine, and putting them into the same box just causes a nightmare for HMRC. They don't understand what they're doing. But I'm glad that they managed to do it, because it's something I like to see. During the festival in the summer, I did a side-by-side wine and whiskey tasting. And I think it's one of those things where, had I been able to get the exact casks and the exact wine that was being used. So when we did the Leoville Barton wine, sitting beside, and again looking at one of the vintages, but sitting beside the green spot Leoville Barton finish, that's really good to see. But in this case, we're seeing the actual the actual wine from that actual vintage year and that cask being used. That's pretty cool. That's pretty smart, you know.
Very unique.
It is unique. Slightly similar, I suppose, to the Dunville's presentation with the little tiny miniature rum potentially there. But again, I suppose it's, you know, we're looking at something which is a little bit more, I suppose a little bit more unique. And again, I've never seen this wine and whiskey put together. Even in, you know, even when you
Wine
get,
is nuanced as well. You know, there's such subtle nuances within wine to be able to actually make that direct comparison. It opens up your palate. So whenever you then go to try the whiskey, you're noticing things that you maybe wouldn't necessarily notice if you didn't have the two side by side. It opens the palate up, having that direct comparison between the two, and there's subtleties of flavour that I don't think you would necessarily immediately pick up on if you didn't have them to do that direct comparison with.
right, okay, you're quite right. Also, Jamie has just said that rum apparently falls within the same bracket within HMRC. So actually, putting together the rum and the whiskey in the same box doesn't cause as much of a headache. So I think what they've done is pretty cool. I think, Mike, the fact that you bought one, that says all. You know, it's we had people in the last tasting quite specifically message to say, we know there's not that many bottles left now because they're going. There was a certain amount left aside for. They were left aside for the people who are buying casks, the original cask from the distillery. Jamie wants to say thank you very much, Mike, for buying the cask, for buying the bottle, and for buying the presentation.
I'm glad my wife wasn't here when he said about buying the cask.
Oh, here, listen. The cat. Do you know what? You see a lot of casks being sold all over the place. There's been a couple of distilleries recently who've put out some good offerings. You know, the Dingle is a good offering, I think. But I'll say something. Not for investment purposes, because I'm not into investment purposes for casks at all. But to own a cask and to feel part of a distillery growing up and, you know, going from strength to strength. It's been, you know, Hinch, the cask program at Hinch is pretty damn cheap. I mean, in comparison, because there's other ones that are more expensive. But I think they're doing rightly. I like this idea of doing small casks, and what I believe with the Hinch one is that they're not going to be numbered. So you're not going to get a number. You're going to get the first series of casks, and that's it. You know, and it'll have you have whatever you want on it. I personally have bought into that program, and it's the first one that I've been able to buy into as a program. You know, as a to buy a cask for part of a new distillery growing up, and I'm glad because I think that it's on my doorstep, and if there was another distillery in Belfast, I probably would have done the same. But at the moment, there's not. We're still waiting, to have our distilleries in Belfast itself. So it's close enough. There's no. What I thought was really interesting with Hinch is there's no cask number one at all. That they didn't buy into this idea of you'll get cask 1, you'll get cask 20, you'll get cask 45. That the first series of casks don't have a number value. They're not numerically numbered. You'll have your name on it, and that's it. I thought that was pretty cool. I kind of liked that because then you didn't get people thinking that your whiskey was more valuable than the other. So there's never going to be a cask number one, which I think is pretty cool. No one can ever say. So everyone can say, we're cask number one. We're all cask number one in some respects, because we're all getting filled at the same time. Yeah, I think I missed the boat on so many distilleries. And I just couldn't let this one pass. Look, it's not their liquid just now. Bushmills liquid. These guys have Terry Cross has put a massive amount of money into purchasing stocks of liquid. Lots of stock. So he has lots of Cooley, has lots of Bush, and they're going to keep on looking at releasing little bits of brilliance. So I'm glad this has come out. I really like the smell. Love that. It's like it's pomegranate, pink grapefruit. That's what I get. And I said that earlier. It's yeah.
I think it was a good idea leaving this one to last.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah, it's good, mate. Yeah.
Definitely.
You like
Thanks,
it? You like it, Robert? Yes.
Yeah. Novus.
Good. Yeah, I was, as I say earlier on, we tasted this in the 12-euro plus box, and the people that had so many people had messaged me afterwards saying, "Can we still buy this?" And Jamie has again just messaged me to make sure that people are aware that there are only 78 packs left. They were only meant to be sold in the distillery. They then put some out to local distribution networks because of obviously the coronavirus, and the way it's been handled. So they got so many sold within, shops, retail. They sold out in retails. So there's only 78 left, and I think that's dead on. And I think that that's really good. And hopefully, when that shop opens again, when the distillery shop opens again, in February at some point, that they can, that they can sell the rest. But I think it's unique. I think that what's going to be interesting about distilleries like Hinch is just about their own spirit. For me, it will be about their own spirit, and it will be about what we're going to get from their own liquid. But at the moment, they're doing what everyone else is doing, which is taking all the good liquor that we have in Ireland, making making it their own. Dunville's have done it, the Ecklandville distillery. Brendy's done it. At Cologne, Dahi O'Connell has done it. The W.D. O'Connell stuff. The guys at McConnell's have done it. With their blend. But lots of people are making use of the fact that we've got lots of good whiskey. Bushmills and Cooley are staple and are very, 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 very good. And if we can get lots of whiskey out at the right price point, I must say, like, I'm all for value for money. Like, it has to be at the right price. That this is good. It's great to see. Jamie's got one more thing to say. He said that Philip Crawford, who is Causeway Coast Reviews, has said that our new make is perfect. Now, I don't know if I can believe anything that comes out of Phil's mouth. He's a bit of a liar. That boy, he just tells lies. Phil tells so many lies. It's unreal. Do you know what I mean?
We don't need people is to please. So, what does opinion matter?
Do you know what I like? Do you know what I like about Phil? I did an interview with him last week, and he phoned me and he said, well, actually I phoned him, but he'd been meant to phone me, and he said, can we speak later on? I says, yes, of course we can talk later on. And this was at the start of the call. He says, can we talk later on? I says, yes. And I finished that call with him about an hour and 20 minutes later. and then he phoned me. I think it was at 8 o'clock at night. Could have been a little bit late. No, in fact, it was later. It was closer to 10 o'clock at night. Maybe. And again, he said, listen, it won't be too long. We'll do the interview. It shouldn't take long. Maybe about half an hour. I says, yes, that's no problem. I'm wide awake. And I think we finished the call close to half 12 at night. And I was like, yes, dead on. He can talk. He can he can certainly say many good things about good whiskey. I don't buy into the fact that he's grumpy. People think he's grumpy or grinchy or whatever. I just think he's blatant, blunt, honest. And I don't think he's a bot person. There's many people who I believe are bot. I don't find him to be anyone who's been bought. I don't think he's he can be influenced in much ways. Now, saying that, we all have our own opinion, and I think that sometimes your opinion can be skewed. But I think he's got it. I think he's got it right. He's doing really well. I like his reviews. I like what he's doing.
But what we say down here, he wears his heart in his sleeve. And
what's another year?
Yeah.
He's very passionate. He cares very, very deeply about whiskey, and he wants whiskey to be good, and he wants it to be good for the right reasons. So
yeah.
He's critiquing it, yes, but it's because he wants it to be something exceptional. That's what he wants, and that's what it's that passion that leads to him not necessarily being critical, but just being honest, because he doesn't want to let anybody down when they're picking up a dram and going, this doesn't live up to my expectations because XYZ said it was the greatest thing since sliced bread and bought into the hype. Bill never buys into the hype, and that's something I do completely admire and respect with him 100% on the line.
I totally concur with that. I think look, I share a lot of Phil's enthusiasm. I share his enthusiasm big time. I also share his blunt honesty. I don't want. Our whiskey club is quite specific. I don't want to put stuff on the table which doesn't taste well. But see, when it doesn't taste well, then we talk about it and we're just admitting that it's just not great, and it's maybe it shouldn't be in a bottle. But it's these packs that we've put together. They're based on my interpretation of good whiskies. In most of these packs, it's based on good whiskey that I want people to taste and enjoy, and hopefully over the festive period really appreciate. And I think that, hopefully tonight, you can correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but hopefully tonight the 9 liquids did that. I think that we put together a really good premium pack, which I think that kind of showcases Irish whiskey at the moment. Has a good reflection of some of the good spirit that has come out, dating back to 1989. I think we've done well there. I've really enjoyed it tonight. I've had a bit of crack. You guys have been good fun. I'm loving the banter that we've had, and it's been nice to have people message through. So again, there's Serge saying he's just, I suppose, concurring what we've said about Phil. He's just one of these guys one of the few who hasn't been bought yet. And I think that's important. But it's good to have people with integrity within the industry talking about bottles and just being very honest about it. So listen, Richard, Robert, thank you very much. Penny, I don't think we've heard from you tonight, have we? Have we heard much from you? But thank you very much for joining us. And who's Irish W? Who's
that? Who's that?
Is it Irish Whiskey Auctions? Who is it?
No way.
I don't know, because they're not speaking to me. They're just having on.
Boot him. Get him out.
We're not going to do that. And then obviously to Serge and Michael and Lochran and all the guys. I mean, Stuart, Sean Carty's just jumped on. So yeah, Stuart Quayle, Ryan Whelan. Excellent. Thank you very much. Mickey Donnelly. Who else? Kieran McKissick, Bob. Bob, thanks very much, Bob. I'm just reading some of his comments. Paul Graham, Stevie, yeah, and Richard, thank you very much, and also Matt Kelly earlier on. Really good that you all joined us, and there's been plenty of people watching throughout the night, coming through that online stuff. But listen, guys, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Ladies, hope you've had fun. Sure, try and enjoy the rest of your Christmas time, and we're on again tomorrow. We've got tastings for the next 6 days. Yeah.
Stay safe.
Everybody stay safe. Enjoy yourselves. All right. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thanks for them, Paul. Take care.
At all. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Million.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, that was good crack. Glad we got everyone on there for Sean, thank you very much. It's good stuff. No, I mean, but here, look, back on again tomorrow. Back on live. We're back on again at 2:00, I think. So that's our next session. And you know what? I've really enjoyed myself. So listen, thank you. Good night.